Kia ora everyone, welcome to Agile Valley this evening, a very cold Wellington day. Thanks so much for being here. I'm really excited about our talk tonight. Jill and I were lucky enough earlier in the year to have a bit of a sneak peek with Wayne and to have a one-on-one session with him about his art of decision making. So absolutely thrilled, goosebumps to hear him tonight and to share these frameworks, and really looking forward to hearing what you have to say and any questions that you've got. So without further ado, I'll hand over to Wayne.
Thank you, Charlotte and Gillian, firstly for inviting me, welcoming me to share my ideas around decision making. Nau mai haere mai, tēnā koutou katoa e te whānau o Agile Valley. This topic today, our kaupapa, is on decision making. I've grouped it into three themes: the process, the journey it took to get here, the concepts and principles that shaped my thinking, and the practice, the actual art of decision making. I'll be your guide today. In my head, I'm imagining that this is a voyage. We're in our wakas together, looking to the stars, venturing out into the unknown, and hopefully I can help you navigate at least the journey I've taken, and inspire you to take that journey for yourself and share what you learn on the journey, just as I've committed to doing today. Firstly, introductions. Ko waiaho, ko rangitāne te maunga. The man in the sky is the mountain. So the first landmark you see when you're paddling down the Kirikiri River will be Rangitane. It's more of a hill than a mountain, but it is the first landmark you'll see. Ko te awa o ngā rangatira te awa. So the River of Chiefs is the river that you will be travelling down. It's called the River of Chiefs because all of the top Ngāpuhi chiefs, like Tamati Wakanini, would travel down Kirikiri River on their way to Kororipo to meet Hongihika. So Kororipo is where the Kirikiri Stone Store is, if anyone's been to Kirikiri, and Kororipo means ripples. So when you go to the stone store, if you look in the water, you will see many ripples in that space. That's where all the Mapuhi chiefs used to meet. Ko Paringaroa te whenua. As you travel down the river, you will see long banks on both sides. Paringa is banks, roa meaning long. If you look to the right, that is where my ancestors are from. Ko Ngāpuhi te iwi, Ngāpuhi is the tribe. Ko Waimarama te marae. Waimarama means the water of light, and it's named after a well, where the water is so clear and pure, it reflects the moonlight and the sunlight during the day. Ko Kingi Wurumu te tupuna matua. So William Kingi is the grandfather. Ko Wayne Kingi aho. My name is Wayne Kingi. I wanted to share too a little bit about the roles I've played from a work perspective. Mahi meaning work. In an agile world, I've been a developer, a product owner, a value stream lead, an agile coach, and my current job is as a workflow manager.
Kia ora, Wayne.
Kia ora. So I wanted to start this journey with a principle that was shared by Westpac's ex-CIO, Davi Olivier, and he said, ask a powerful question, get a powerful answer. So he as he's creating his organizational strategies, they were all formed around powerful questions. If you ask a powerful question, you get a powerful answer. And so this journey starts with powerful questions and the answers to those questions. The problem I was trying to solve was flow. So A year ago, I took a course for explorers. I call it a course for explorers because you are exploring your own personal agility. This course, the Personal Agility Practitioner course, run by Shiro Tanzi, challenged you to look at yourself and understand trying to unpack your own personal agility. And the powerful question Shiro would ask is, can you coach or lead agile teams if you haven't actually achieved a level of personal agility in your life? And it really made me think about my own personal agility. And I had to say, my personal agility was not where I wanted it to be. And as part of that course, we learned different techniques, strategies, principles, approaches to unlock your personal agility. And during that journey, I committed to, after the 6 to 7 week course, committed to doing a deep dive of 3 months to really unpick each one of those 3 areas: align, anticipate, and adapt in my life. Decision making came out, or the frameworks came out of the adapt phase. And the powerful question that struck me most was, what's holding me back from taking action? What's holding me back from moving forward with what's truly important in my life? Some goals that have been around for, since I was a teenager, that just never seem to get off the shelf or get any real momentum. And I narrowed that down to 2 main obstacles: fear, fear of the unknown, fear of consequences, fear of making mistakes, fear of embarrassment, criticism, judgment. And the second obstacle was a lack of clarity, not being clear about what options are in front of you, what does the right decision look like, what does the wrong decision look like, and just getting to that point where you say to yourself, I really don't know what decision to make. So I wanted to face into those 2 areas to kind of unlock my personal agility. So to face into the fear, I already had a strategy which had been shared with me from a partner agile coach from Wellington, Kyle Lapine. And he called it 2 seconds of courage, where you count to 1, 2, and then you jump and you just go for it. You embrace the unknown, you work with what's right in front of you, you encourage yourself, you tell yourself you've got this, you look for what's good enough to move forward rather than good enough for now. And I added to that, when everything goes to custard, I repeat 3 things to myself: so what, who cares, it's all bullshit anyway. So don't take life too seriously. I usually laugh at myself when I say that, and that makes light of the obstacle, gives me enough courage to just move forward. So as a way of getting clarity, I developed some decision-making models that allow me to explore my own thinking, to make it more conscious, in an effort to then tackle each component and get myself closer and closer to actually making a decision and taking some action. So now for the models. So this one here is I've called the conscious model, because it really is a model to help you unpick your own thinking. It's a framework that enables a user to overcome inertia, procrastination, being stuck, by making this decision-making process a conscious exploration of the why behind the what. So exploring your thoughts using the framework on the right, prioritizing or understanding, what your current action is, and then asking some questions about it, some powerful questions. Is this something I need to do? Is this something I have to do? Is this something I want to do? Is this something I get to do? So I've always, one of my goals in life is to make everything a get to. Children have a way of looking at something so simple And so I guess naively and innocently, in a way that is, I call it in awe perspective. Everything is seen through the eyes of awe. Everything is exciting. Everything is like brand new. And I wanted that to shape, I guess, the way I approach life. How can I get to a feeling of awe about what I'm exploring? Do I really need that McDonald's Big Mac combo if my goal is to lose weight? Or is that something I really want to do? What I found is most people sit in the want to dimension instead of the need to and have to, the foundational elements that actually set you up for success. Definitely McDonald's is not a want to, is not a need to, it's more of a want to. If my goal is to lose weight, to look amazing, to go to the gym, to exercise, then I should be choosing goals or choosing actions that are aligned to those goals. So is this something I need to do? Is it something I have to do? Or is it a want to? Is it a get to? And then I would look at the cost. So what is the cost of doing? Or what is the cost of not doing? What is the benefit of doing? What is the benefit of not doing? So by exploring my thinking and the action that I'm currently taking using this model, I found it was a lot easier to get to an action that was more aligned to my goals, where I could clearly understand the cost of doing and the cost of not doing. It's funny how we as human beings tend to go towards or tend to do anything to avoid pain as a way of then moving towards pleasure. So asking yourself the cost of not doing, of not going to the gym, of not doing any exercise on a regular basis can be quite a powerful motivator, because we are so skewed towards avoiding pain at all costs. This is the conscious model. I'll just share the models first, and then we can revisit how I use them to make decisions and what I mean by the art of decision making. The second model I've called the situation model. So it's a framework that enables a user to explore a situation or scenario and decide how you might move forward. Now, I've made an assumption here that with any situation, there are three main responses. You can either accept the situation, you can try to change the situation, or you can leave the situation if possible. I've added exploring actions. So what action could I take to get a better outcome versus non-action? And I've added probability and possibility dimensions. Probability thinking is where you have you look at the situation from a past experience perspective, and you say 1 + 1 = 2. In the past, when I have done X, Y has happened. So that is the probability. If X is in this situation, there's a probability that Y is going to happen. And that's based on the past experience. Possibility thinking is exploring something I call outside of your box of beliefs. Your box being the conditioning you might have received as a child, your unconscious biases, your perspectives and views, your opinions that have been shaped by your experience of life. And I see it as a box that actually limits your possibilities to just what's in the box. Possibility thinking is exploring possibilities outside of that box, opening you up to new experiences, new possibilities. So I'd look at a situation and say, is this something that I need to accept? Is there an opportunity to change here? Or is the space closed? Is the space in a negative place, where actually the best option might be to leave if it's not safe. What action could I take in order to influence change? Is there an opportunity to influence change? Or when I say non-action, sometimes active listening can be a really powerful response to a situation where I call it need versus outcome. Often as a coach, you walk into a workshop or a meeting, you've got a list of outcomes you're trying to achieve, and you've designed this amazing facilitated structure that's going to help you achieve those outcomes. You go into the meeting and straight away you start to receive some negativity in the room. Maybe you've shared your agenda and someone says, sorry, I haven't got enough time for that. They're completely resistant or against your ideas. Understanding whether the space needs a need to be addressed is a powerful thing that allows you then to pivot. So rather than focusing on your outcome, addressing a need to vent, a need to be the smartest person in the room, whatever that need may be, if you can recognize it, you can pivot, address the need, and then when the need's been addressed, you'll find that space open up to help you or allow you to achieve your outcomes. So the situation model gives you a framework to just look at a situation and make some conscious decisions about that situation based on your observations and insights. Okay, and the third model I've called the space model. It's very similar to when you're in a situation. Obviously you're in a space, but it's kind of let's take a step back and look at this space, which you can do before your workshop, your meeting, your conversation, your one-on-one. You can look at the space and say, is the space open? Is it open for new ideas and new possibilities? Or are the people in the space locked into probabilities? I've been doing this for 20 years. This is the way it's always been done. There's probably a little option or little openness for new ideas. Is the space safe? I think that's an important one to ask. And if it's not safe, is there anything I can do to shift the space into one that is safe? Can I trust the space? Is it actually open for me to be completely honest? Can I trust the individuals in the space? Can I trust that the information I give will be respected? Will my voice be respected in this space? So I kind of have this framework in my back pocket whenever I go into a space, having been invited to a meeting with no agenda. And the first thing I'm looking for is how open is the space? So I will go into active listening mode and listen to the conversation, and from the language being used, the body language of the people in the room, you can get a sense usually of how open it is, how safe it might be, whether it can be trusted, whether it can be respected. And based on your observations and insights, you can make a more conscious decision about what action you might take, what non-action you might take, whether the space is locked into probability thinking based on the past, and whether there is an opportunity to explore possibilities. You can better navigate and coach, guide the space by looking for triggers that I guess speak to a little bit of openness. So usually if I want to open a space, I share from a very honest, authentic space. Honesty tends to open up the space. Or I let someone who might be agitated for whatever reason maybe they don't feel like their voice is respected in the room, and it just so happens they've chosen that moment to demand to have themselves heard. If you give them that opportunity, you've in the conversation find the common ground where you can actually agree. Encourage that by saying, hey, that's a great point you just made there. That's something we could really use moving forward. Or, wow, I'd never thought of it that way. Thank you for your opinion. You'll start to find the space open up and shift by sharing your honest opinion, finding that common ground. You can call out if it's not feeling safe. Hey, let's create a safe place. Let's be conscious of the language we're using. Let's respect each other's views, opinions, and actually create some more safety in the room. And you can create that respect by actually giving people respect in the room. Thank you, Bob, for your idea. I really respect your opinion. You're an expert in this place. I'd love to hear more. You can, even if you're asking yourselves these questions and you get a no, there may be opportunities, possibilities in this space to open it up, make it more safe, to create trust, to create mutual respect in this space, so you can get to achieve the outcomes that you're after. And the last model is, I've called it the yes scale. So I credit my boss because she's amazing at making decisions. She must have 100 people come past her desk in a day, and she always gives them her full attention, makes decisions very quickly that communicate clarity, and people can go away and get stuff done. So when I asked her, how do you make decisions? What is the decision-making framework you use? Her response was, I start with yes, and I work my way down from there. So we created a yes scale using a powerful question. How close am I to a yes? So this is to help you kind of navigate your feelings about a decision or action you're about to take. So the exploration models allow you to explore your thinking. When you've settled on potential ways forward, I found the next obstacle is actually, how do I feel about it? And the yes scale helped me to say, okay, am I at a 5? Which is a yes with bells on. Let's go, let's do it. 100% confidence it's the right thing to do. Let's just do it. Or am I at a yes, mostly yes, but with a checklist? I love what you're saying, but could you just check A, B, C for me, and then I'll be a 5? Or am I a yes with more data? Actually, I still agree this could be a really great way to move forward, but I need more information. I'm kind of feeling like I don't have enough context about this to make a firm decision. Or is it a yes, but with a deep dive? Actually, we need to do more research with this. We need more work. I'm feeling positive about the potential, but I'm not there as far as willing to commit to a decision and take some action moving forward. Or is it a review and reset? So let's review and revisit our original vision, our original goals, our original outcomes. I'm not sure the direction we're taking is aligned to our original vision. So let's actually review and reset, and then go from there, and then recheck ourselves on the yes scale. It gives you a confidence boost. You feel more confident when you work yourself through this scale. As you can see, there's no is not on the menu. It's all about more information to get you to a yes. So I've used all 3 of those models and the yes scale to explore spaces, situations, my own thinking and decision making, my own feelings about decisions that need to be made, and I've seen an acceleration in my own personal agility. I've shared them with people. I do some personal coaching on the side for love, not money. And I've shared these models with my coachees, and they've been able to overcome obstacles in their own lives as they chase their own goals and outcomes just by exploring their thinking. So I wanted to share with this group for the same purpose, not because I consider myself an expert at decision making, but I thought it might be valuable to at least share some of the ideas, concepts I've been exploring as a way to then add value to your lives, and hopefully you return the cycle and share your experience. So in martial arts, we used to call that polishing your game. You would continue to try something in multiple environments with multiple opponents until you could apply that technique on anybody. Bruce Lee used to say, don't fear the man who knows 10,000 techniques, fear the man who's practiced a handful of techniques 10,000 times. I absolutely attest to that philosophy, and you've used it as part of this exploration. So now I wanted to talk about the actual art, and what does art mean? I think there's a difference between learning and training. Learning is educational, training is practical. It's the actual practical application of what you've learned. So the art is the consistent, deliberate practice of a thing for the sole purpose of artistry. There's a concept in the personal agility course called Ikigai, and it's a Japanese concept where you find you almost resonate and become one with the thing you're most passionate about. You become an artist, you become creative, innovative. Artists play, they experiment, they twist and turn and reshape things. They apply principles of failure school, so failing fast as a way to learn, trial and error. First they try something, they make a mistake, and then they learn from it. Being an artist, it means actually taking something you've learnt and putting it into deliberate practice. So being deliberate about the practice of the thing leads to artistry. So I want to encourage everyone on the call to hopefully take some of these models and actually play with them in your own lives in different situations. Really deliberately practice for the sole purpose of improving your own personal agility, your own decision-making process. So I wanted to then talk about what does that play look like? And I don't know if Cheryl's on the line, but I've put the 3 A's, personal agility practitioner concepts at the bottom, because I can't think of anything better if you want to reset and review anything than the principles and concepts she shares in that course. And so if you are lacking clarity about what's important to you, lacking clarity about all the pieces of what those goals and outcomes look like, if you're lacking clarity about what action you need to take, then using those principles is a really great way to start. And they're important for helping you to, I guess, reduce some of the noise in your decisions. And then using each model in a dynamic way. So models aren't meant to be static. They aren't meant to be one size fits all. They're dynamic, they change. Like as an example, forming, storming, norming, performing. your teams don't move statically through those phases. It's dynamic. Every time there is a change in the formation of the team, they go right back to forming and then to storming. Sometimes, some days, some weeks, they might be in the performing stage, but anything can knock them right back into a forming stage. So all models are meant to be applied in a more dynamic way. So these models are not static. You apply this one in when you want to explore your own thinking. Apply this one when you want to explore a situation. Apply this one when you want to explore a space. Actually, it's meant to be used dynamically. As an example, as an Agile coach, I was asked to, at the very last minute, facilitate a workshop with a whole bunch of senior leaders. I hadn't had any opportunity to prepare. I'd only had an hour's notice to facilitate the session. I went to the room where everyone was meeting, expecting there to, at least, because there was a facilitator organised there who called in sick and couldn't do the session, so they tapped me in, and they had no facilitation tools. There was no agenda. They just had an outcome that they needed to achieve. And I remember thinking, I've got no idea what I'm going to do here. So I pulled out one of these frameworks and used it as a facilitation structure. So they had a backlog of items, and we needed to firstly visualize that backlog and then prioritize that backlog. So I used the conscious thinking model, where we created the backlog of items, and then we categorized them into, okay, what do we have to do? What do we need to do? What do we want to do? And what do we get to do? What's going to help us distinguish ourselves from our competitors? I put that up on the board, asked them to come in and group the categories, and then we went over what they put in the categories. We talked about the cost of doing and not doing. We talked about the benefits and the value we're going to get. We had some goals and outcomes for the particular initiative, and we were able to identify actually what was not aligned to those goals. But as part of that, while that helped me facilitate the actual conversation, I was also in a space. So I was also conscious of how was it open? How open was it? Did we have safety? Was it trusted? Was it respected? And the room was full of super technical guys. I could barely understand what they were talking about. But by showing them respect, by being honest about the fact that I had not prepared for that session at all, and it was a fly by the seat of your pants, what I noticed about their honesty is they actually rallied around me. They were invested in helping me be successful in my facilitation, which gave me the space or the safety to completely fumble my way through it without any regard for consequences. We noticed, we went back and we noticed that the want-tos were huge. It was. And a lot of the need-tos and have-tos were actually in the want-to basket. So we were able to actually get them to prioritize and get to, we have to do this. So these became the high priority. The need-tos became the medium priority, which would become a high priority if we didn't do them. And the want-tos got less and less and less until we decided that these were items we wanted to explore at a future date. We had to set the foundation in place first before we could even explore what we wanted the service to look like, what value we wanted to give to our customers, what experience we wanted to create. So that came back to that acceptance, getting them to accept. Actually, in the in the 2 hours that we've got to facilitate, if we could at least get clear about what the foundational elements are for this project, that would be a win. And even though it was very last minute, I was completely out of my element. I had no intellectual knowledge about the subject from a technical perspective. That we had multiple third parties there, and like I said, senior leaders, and the feedback was awesome, and I actually won an award for it later on. So these models, they work. They've at least worked for me. I'm pretty sure they're going to work for you. I'm keen to understand how you apply them, what you learn, and as you become an artist in your own right. And I hope that you are willing to share your experience with the rest of us. We can all grow and learn. So I just wanted to say, in conclusion, this is the start, not the end. You know, there's a Taoist saying, find the way, then find your way. And then I've added on top of that, then share it so we can all grow, so we can all learn, so we can all develop. And this is the next iteration of models that I thought I'd show you that can get your thinking from inside the box, outside the box. So I don't know where we are for time, but I am open for any questions anyone may have.
We are doing so well on time. We definitely have time for questions. So if anyone has one, feel free to pop it in the chat and we can work through those. Just while we're waiting for a few to come through, Wayne, I absolutely love these frameworks ever since we caught up earlier in the year. I really, really love the space model, and it's one that I use to reflect on when I'm working with a new team for the first time. And yeah, I think that there's so much value in these, and really excited to see what's coming with the next iteration as well. And I love the way that it ties back into the personal agility course that you did last year. And yeah, just keep riffing on it. It's exciting to see what you've come up with.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
Cool. Kyla says to us, not a question, but love the yes scale. So there you go. Nice bit of feedback there.
Yeah, I think it's a powerful question. How close can I get to a yes? You know, how close am I? Rather than again, this static model of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's actually about how close can I get? Am I almost there? What do I need to get there? What kind of bit of information is going to get me there? But there's also the 2 seconds of courage. What if I just did it? What if I just jump? So my ringtone is Jump by Van Halen to remind me to jump, to have the courage to cross the ravine, as Miss Lashy says, to face into what you're afraid of. And the more you do it, the less afraid you become. It just becomes, I've never yet had something really bad happen, even though I'm jumping all over the place, making decisions, moving forward. I will kind of add at least an insight. When your personal agility increases, it can be disruptive for people around you, for your teammates, for people who still need to work on their own personal agility. It can be disruptive when you move really fast and you move fast to decisions.
Definitely. Hey, we've got another question for you, Wayne, from Daphne. Do you find that it's challenging to determine the safety of a space with online sessions, or are online sessions not recommended?
There are indicators, symptoms of whether a space is open, whether it's in person or remotely. So remotely, most people switch off their cameras, unless, you know, most of us, if you're working in technology, most people are introverts, or there's a large group of introverts, are shy. They get drained from being in spaces with lots of people. So if it's a remote session at the end of a day, you may find the space is tired and therefore not open. Other symptoms could be active resistance. You share an idea and someone says, that's BS. I don't agree with that. You know, they take a position with their own idea as the right idea. So you can absolutely see that in remote sessions. And those are all indications that there's a need to be addressed. Maybe that person needs to be the smartest person in the room. So why not let them be? You know, why take a position and try to defend your idea? I call it the abundance mentality. One of my previous coaches, call out Miles, he shared it with me. Again, it's very heavily related to the yes scale. You just say yes to everything. You know, so if I say the sky is blue and someone says that's absolute rubbish, it's red, I go, wow, that's great. I never thought of the sky being red. Tell me more. And as they start to tear my idea down, I will just keep agreeing with them. I say, wow, that's an interesting point. It's a view, it's a perspective. It's neither true nor false. It's neither good nor bad. It's just a view. It's just an opinion. But over time, I've noticed by practicing the abundance mentality, I say, wow, that's a great point. Let's unpick that. Let's amplify that. How can I help you? You know, is there a common ground? You see the person literally open up in front of you. And then when you share your idea, they're going, Wayne, that's a great idea. Why don't we do that? And I'll be like, yes, remember when you said X? Let's do that too. Let's add that on top of it. So I still think you can recognize in remote sessions that the space may not be open, but you still have an opportunity to open the space as well. And sometimes you have to accept that it's never going to open. You try your hardest, you exhaust all the avenues you've thought of, but that doesn't mean you can't come back at some other point in time and retest that space and just keep looking, for opportunities to open up the space.
Fantastic. Hey, we've got another question from Kat here. With those technical meetings, Wayne, have you got any advice on how to get the group to talk in more simple terms?
Wow. I'm probably still trying to master that one myself. Again, I do try to get a sense, take a step back and look, is there a need that has to be addressed here? Does this person need to be the smartest person in the room? I say that a lot because that is a common persona that can show up in your meeting. You know, highest paid opinion is another one. And when I'm facilitating, sometimes I might play the dummy. And I say, look, I don't speak technical speak. Could you just dumb that down for me? Because I guess you have to be courageous to be almost seen as, you know, someone who may not be the smartest person in the room, and you can be okay with that, to get them to explain what they're talking about in layman's terms. Or just, yeah, I find it, especially with men, if you just be direct and say, bro, I can't understand that. You know, just something light and flippant. That would be the key, is to keep the conversation light, you know, and keep it authentic, keep it honest with men, especially. Be direct, but you can still say it in a way that's like, man, sorry, bro, I completely missed that. Could you repeat that, but in English? You might find them repeating it in less technical jargon. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, that is the last of our questions, unless we've got anyone who wants to just turn their mic on and ask. We've got a little bit more space for a couple more.
I'd love to just say kia ora to Wayne. Hey Wayne. I have a reason for being a little bit late tonight. It's a tiny little human that takes up a very large part of my world, and we just wanted to say kia ora and love just seeing you and what you're doing and what, you know, the amazingness that you're bringing here. I guess maybe my question, in case I might have missed it already, but what other areas of life, obviously we're talking about in a work context, but what other areas of life have you been playing around with some of these ideas?
Great question. Well, one of the things that is, and geez, I hope this doesn't sound too weird, that I've been playing with at the moment is, in my head, I call it the Tai Chi of conversation. Flow, you know, no resistance, redirection. Actually, the art of putting all of this into a conversation and responding versus reacting to the situation as it's unfolding, seeing it as almost playing with energy, using language, both verbal and non-verbal, and the impact it's having on the interactions, meetings, sessions I'm having at work. It's just so amazing. So it's kind of the next level of the art here. I called it the Tai Chi of conversation because it feels very much like, you know, they give me something, I respond. If it's directive and maybe not too friendly, how can I either redirect that so it doesn't impact me too much, or absorb and give it back, but in a more positive way. And yeah, I know it's really strange, but it's working a real treat for me at the moment.
And then if it's working, there's that's your measure, right? If it's working, it's exactly. Awesome. I love that's so beautiful that yeah, it's playing with the energy of a conversation. I'm gonna think about that line for a bit, I think.
But kia ora, Cheryl, thank you firstly for turning up, and if you missed it, I did a shameless plugging of your course because it's been so impactful to my own personal agility, and was the impetus for a lot of what we shared today. So thank you too.
Kia ora, Wayne.
Welcome.
Awesome. So many great questions coming out, and a few great tools coming through on the chat as well that different people have suggested. Valerie's talked about the quadrants of space as a great tool to collect feedback about an event. So therefore, brilliant questions to ask people to understand how they liked it. So if anyone has anything that they'd like to share, it'd be great to keep the conversation happening in the meetup channel. So feel free to comment or to drop your links for your preferred tools, and we can keep the conversation going there. But just wondering, do we have any other questions for Wayne? I know Wayne, that people are going to ask for your slides, so I'll preempt it. Is there a possibility of getting a copy of your slides to accommodate the requests that will come through?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to share them. Happy to share everything. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I think if there's no other questions, I think that we wrap up this evening. Again, a massive mihi to Wayne for being with us. I've really enjoyed tonight's talk, and looking forward to seeing what the new insights are that he brings to the market, and perhaps we get him along to another one. We were aiming for an in-person one at some stage with him, so perhaps that could be a really nice opportunity to do that. But next month we will be having an in-person event. More to come on that. Watch out on the meetup page. This will be to celebrate Matariki. Unfortunately, due to the workshop nature of this one, it won't be recorded, but what we will do is share any artifacts from the session. So watch that space. That'll be in Wellington early-ish next month. But yeah, again, massive thank you, Wayne, for being with us. Thank you everyone who's taken the time. Also to our crew overseas for joining us either in the early hours. Really appreciate seeing you here. Nice to see the kids joining the calls, and also the felines, saw a few of those pop up in some of the videos as well. But take care everyone. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon. Ka kite.
Ka kite, thank you team.